What's going on, guys? ChainFeeds here, and this is the top 5 best loadouts for Warzone 2 Season 1 Reloaded. Now, we had a whole bunch of updates and a whole bunch of changes to the game. Hopefully, it plays significantly better now, especially considering they actually added more strongholds, they made the bots weaker, and I think the quality of life is just significantly better. Also, if you guys didn't know, for the riot shielders out there, I'm sorry, but you're no longer going to be overpowered. It actually takes 3 hits to actually take somebody down. In a Warzone, it actually might take more considering it has plates. But anyway, we're going to start off with the best weapon to start out with, which is the TAC V. But before I show you guys the optic build, I want to show you guys the iron sight build just because visually it has 0 recoil. So this is the best bang for your buck, honestly. It's probably fantastic, medium to short range and long range. It's still going to be a little bit dicey, but I think you're going to have a better bet with this version before you are with the optic version. Sounds crazy. But we start out with the Custovia DX90, and we tuned it to increase the bullet velocity by 0.84 inches and increase the recoil smoothness by 0.90 ounces. Put on the 18-inch precision 6 barrel, maxed out the damage range, increased the recoil steadiness by 0.39 pounds. Put on the F-Tac Ripper 56, increased the aiming idle stability by 0.23 inches, increased the recoil stabilization by 0.80 ounces. Put on the 50-round drum, put on the FSS combat grip, increase the aiming idle stability by 0.35 inches and recoil steadiness by 0.65 ounces. And just show you guys how incredible this is, you guys are going to be actually dumbfounded. So check this out. Very little effort, very little effort, very little effort. Now you guys are going to see the optic version has a little bit more recoil, unfortunately, and it's just pretty much the visual recoil. With this, you literally don't have to try because of the optic. Like, this iron sight is actually just really solid. As you guys see, I'm just standing, I'm not mounted or anything. So I think this is actually the best build to start out with before trying the optic version. The TAC V is the heaviest hitter out of any weapon that you can actually use. It's so incredible, and you need to be using it. Trust me, you need to be using it. We're starting out with the Custovia DX90, and we almost maxed out the bullet velocity. I pointed to 0.84 inches, and I put the recoil smoothness at 0.90 ounces. Now, the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and recoil control are increased, and that's why I use them. The downside is aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and aiming stability, but we're going to have things to compensate for all that. We have the 18-inch precision 6 barrel, max out the damage range and recoil steadiness at 0.39 pounds. F-Tac Ripper 56, tuned it to increase the aiming idle stability by 0.25 inches and maxed out the recoil stabilization. Put on the 50-round drum and the VLK 4.0 optic. Now, it's completely up to you whatever you choose to use for the underbarrel and the magazine. If you use a lower magazine, then you'll just get better with the cons. Like, you'll have less of a downside with the cons. But you want as many bullets as possible. And with the F-Tac Ripper, I think this is just the most optimal. Now, some people can use Commando, or if you just want to use anything like a VX or something along those lines, feel free to use that. But this works well for me. And just to show you guys how amazing this is fantastic short to medium range. And then once you get to long range, there's a little bit more recoil. So just to show you guys, this is the recoil you're going to deal with long range. So what I would suggest, honestly, is just crouch a little bit, which you're most likely going to do when you're actually playing the game. Crouch a little bit, and you should be able to actually get the kill a little bit easier. And last but not least, showing you guys how it is mounted. You're going to literally just melt. So this is the best gun overall. I think it's a fantastic build, and honestly, if you are able to get your shots on point, which I would highly suggest probably just hitting the mid body and it'll bounce up, maybe give you a headshot, then you'll be good to go. Moving on from that, we're showing you guys the RPK. Now, I know some people absolutely love the RPK and don't want to move on from it, so I'm going to give you guys the best overall build for it. Now, we put on the Polar Fire S, and we tuned it to increase the length by 0.32 inches for bullet velocity, increase the weight by 0.32 ounces for recoil smoothness. Now, I actually took off the barrel because I realized that it just gives more recoil, and it's not really necessary. I put on the Schlager Peck Box for the increase of aim down sight speed, put on the VLK 4.0 optic, the Demo X2 grip, did not change the width, increased the recoil steadiness by 0.74 ounces, and then put on high velocity, max out the bullet velocity and damage range by 0.43 Gs. I showed you guys how amazing this is. We're gonna get it ready. Absolutely melts, and then from a distance, absolutely fantastic. So completely up to you if you want to use this. I highly recommend using this. Crouch, you're probably just gonna be better off. As you guys see, you get less of a recoil penalty than with the TAC V. The only downside is this isn't as strong as the TAC V. But if you just want something that guarantees you recoil control, then I would highly recommend using this. Next, I want to show off a sleeper, which is the mini Bach. Now, this thing has a ton of bullets, and it's going to be extremely useful to use in Warzone Season 1 Reloaded. This thing is incredible. It has 64 bullets just to start out with, and you don't have to change anything. Like, I mean, you really can't. This gives you mini Bach grip mag. I don't know why you would actually use this. It's kind of an irrelevant attachment. You can use the X10 RR40 muzzle, max out the bullet velocity, and increase the weight by 0.45 ounces for recoil smoothness. This increases the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. You get a decrease of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Now I use the Bach 9 279mm barrel, increase the damage range and aim walking speed just because it already has pretty good recoil control. You increase the damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity. As you see, it decreases the aim down sight speed and hip recoil control, but that doesn't really matter too much. Trust me, you're going to be in a good position regardless. Put on the Marquise R7 stock, max out the aiming out stability, and decrease the weight by 1.94 ounces for aim down sight speed. This increases the crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. And last but not least, put on the True Tack grip. Didn't change the width, increased the weight by 0.52 ounces for recoil steadiness. This increases the sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. And just to show you guys how amazing this is, absolutely amazing. The only downside is long range. You're gonna have to control it a little bit. Next, we're moving on to the Lockman 5.56, and this gun is so amazing. You guys have to give this a try. The Lockman 5.56 has 0 recoil, and it's honestly just a fun class overall to use. It's going to be extremely satisfying to get kills with this. Put on the Harbinger D20, max out the bullet velocity, and then I increase the recoil smoothness by 0.99 ounces. This increases the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at a reduction of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Put on the Lockman 15.9 wrap barrel, increase the damage range, max it out, increase the weight by 0.31 ounces for recoil steadiness. This increases the bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control, which honestly, who cares? Put on the Bruin Warrior grip. I did not tune this, but this increases the hip fire accuracy, hip recoil control, aim walking steadiness, and recoil steadiness at the reduction of hip walking speed and aim down sight speed. I put on high velocity, max out the bullet velocity and damage range, and then I put on the 40 round mag. And just show you guys, this gun is a literal laser. This is something that you absolutely want to use. You don't have to try at all. Like, you literally don't even have to try. So this is something that I highly recommend using. You're gonna have a great time with it. Please put this class on. Like, if you guys want to do good and you don't really want to try with controlling the recoil, just use this class at a bright here and you're gonna absolutely melt. Last but not least, we are using the Fennec 45, and I put on the ZLR 16.5 ignition barrel. No smoke on this barrel. You increase the damage range by 0.22 inches just because at that point it doesn't really change anymore. Like, as you guys see, it does more harm beyond this point. So 0.22 is the best point to really have it. So I can't actually, there we go. I put the recoil steadiness to 0.40 just because I think that's the most beneficial as well. Put on the VLK Laser 7MW, Agile Assault 7 stock. Tuned it to increase the aiming idle stability by 0.93 inches. And then if you want to increase the aim walking steadiness, it's completely up to you, but I didn't really feel the need to increase it that much. You could probably put it to 1.52 and then try not to go beyond that point. Then use the Fennec rubber grip. I increased the aiming idle stability by 0.20 inches and then increased the recoil steadiness by 0.52 ounces. And then I put on the Fennec Mag 45 and just show you guys how amazing this is. This thing is a literal laser. Does not move. Does not move. Now, the long range, you're going to have less luck just because obviously it's an SMG. But honestly, if you're going to use it, just burst fire. Focus on these short to mid-range engagements and you'll be good to go.